Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about why Doug Ford isn't the odd choice. Ever since early on, Doug Ford has featured prominently in Canada's response to Trump's trade actions. This has led to numerous messages and comments from Americans and Canadians alike. Most, but not all Canadians, were in dismay at his prominence in the situation. Americans were confused by the system and how a person who in the American system is sort of like a governor has so much prominence internationally. This gets even more confusing because a Canadian governor is exactly nothing like an American one. Clear as mud, right? But the real question is why Doug Ford? I have a theory. It may not be happenstance or chance. In hostage negotiations, the person who actually talks to the hostage taker is never the person who can make decisions on their own, as far as whether they get a helicopter on the roof or stuff like that. Even if they are the boss, they pretend they aren't. In that situation, the negotiator's first job is to build a rapport. They want the person they're talking to identify with them, to see some kind of shared interest or bond. They want to explore issues that are leading to the situation and demands. They want to use time to let the reality of the situation sink in. They want to soften demands and focus on shared solutions and make sure they start the process of negotiating in earnest. With that in mind, who is Ford? A person who very much could have been a Trump ally, who has a lot of ties to the U.S., who has a similar political posture as Trump, who isn't going to be the one making the final decision, who is proposing a shared interest of an AMCAN fortress, who is using language that aligns perfectly with Trump's rhetoric about the U.S. Iron Dome, and is basically attempting to build a rapport while allowing cooler heads to prevail over time. I mean, maybe it's a coincidence, or maybe the Canadian negotiation strategy is more coordinated than it seems from this side of the border. It's interesting to note that Trump, even after the recent unpleasantness, said Ford was a, quote, very strong man. What we know is that today he should meet with the U.S. Commerce Secretary and the U.S. Trade Representative. And there's been some word that Canada's Finance Minister will also be at the meeting. Ford just met with the incoming Prime Minister to talk about strategy. Ford said he didn't want to set expectations for the meeting. He said, quote, I want to find out where their bar is set, rather than keep moving the goalposts. I want to find out how quickly you want to move forward and see what their requirements are. He just wants to talk, establish a rapport, and find shared solutions. But before any real decisions are made, he'll have to talk to the new Prime Minister. And that may take a little while because he's getting settled. So he'll just stay talking and getting to know each other. I bet Ford talks a lot about his time in the U.S., his family, how stressful it is under the current situation, and how the media treats them both so poorly during lulls in the conversation. It's called self-disclosure, if you're following along in the textbook. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.